What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the hit my welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, evening, afternoon, morning as we finish out Rio by Duran Duran. We're gonna move on to the last track of the album, the Chauffeur, Duran Duran, Rio. We're gonna move on after the perfect, and I do say perfect, last track of Save a Prayer. We're moving on to the last track of this really fun album, especially like some of the standout songs, like it really, like the title track is like a really standout song on here. Save a Prayer was really, really good. So let's see how this last track on the album ranks up to the rest. I haven't heard a lot about Duran Duran's other albums. I don't even recall seeing in the comments a lot of talk about Duran Duran's other albums. So is this, I mean, widely considered their best album? I'm pretty sure it's their most popular. But are there other tracks from the band that like are also pretty hyped? Because I don't recall seeing any other hubbub about them. But for now, let's move on to the Chauffeur. We'll allow the music to take us where it will, and we'll talk about it a little bit after. Let's go.
Out on the top lanes, the glides are moving.
Kind of a tense atmosphere.
Way
How interesting is that? What a really, really unique way for the band to end this album. That is an interesting song to end an album on. I think you got to admit that. There's a lot of tense atmosphere in that track, especially being built up from the beginning. I think you got to hand it to Rhodes on this one with the keys and the ambience that he's coming up with. Because eventually, yes, it does move into a sort of synth poppy direction. Before that, it's just tense atmosphere the whole way through. Even LeBone sounds a little bit like, I don't want to say off kilter, but there's an eerie nature to the way that he's delivering the singing in here. That's interesting. And even when we move into a little bit more of a more typical rhythm and sound with the drum machine coming in, or at least it sounds like V drums, perhaps, something of that nature, it still doesn't lose that tense grasp around our throats. It still doesn't lose that kind of choking you feeling. Now, the music, at least to me, seems a little bit dark. The lyrics, I didn't really pay a ton of attention, but I didn't think they were too dark. Listening to it and reading alongside with it. But really here, there's darkness in the music there, which I think is really cool to kind of end the album on this particular note. I also see that LeBone is playing ocarina on this track, which is what's heard at the very end. Like, there's something light and colorful about it, but at the same time, like I said, there's a shade of dark under it as well. Let me just pull back a little bit, get to about the middle, first minute. Like, and even the little bit of production on his voice kind of adds to that, I don't know, there's a haunting quality to the music there. And even the synth, the keys that are being played, they're joyous, but they're also kind of stilted. They're like sunflowers that have been taken out of their vase for a while and they're kind of drying up. So they still have a little bit of a beauty to it, but there's also something a little bit dreary to it. I'm getting pictures when I listen to the music, and I can't help it. And even the bass, like, it's very mellow, it's very melodic, but it's still like there's like life being sucked out of it. Maybe I'm thinking too deep, but this song feels incredibly dark and a little eerie to me, which I think is a really interesting one, once again, note to end such a fabulous album on that's typically pretty upbeat. Let's read these lyrics. Out on the tar plains, the glides are moving, all looking for a new place to drive. You sit beside me, so newly charming, sweating dewdrops glistening, freshing your side. And the sun drips down, bedding heavy behind, the front of your dress all shadowy lined, and the droning engine throbs in time with your beating heart. Way down the lane away, living for another day, the aphids swarm up in the drifting haze, swim seagull in the sky towards that hollow western isle. My envied lady holds you fast in her gaze. So he's driving. There's someone next to him. It seems like they're just kind of going on a scenic ride. But it's just because of the music, it just makes me think that there's something else going on. And then the way that he says and sings "Sing Blue Silver," like just the way he holds that note, I don't know. There's It's chill. And watching lovers part, I feel you smiling. What glass splinters lie so deep in your mind? To tear out from your eyes with a word to stiffen brooding lies, and I'll only watch you leave me further behind. So, does he feel like he's like the chauffeur, right? Taking people from one place to another, and it seems like he's dropping this person off to their lover. Does he feel like he's losing out? Does he feel like he's only the method of transportation? Of course, it could be literal, but I'm thinking more in a romantic sense, metaphorical sense. He feels like he's just the middleman for this person to get to their actual and next relationship. He's just like the stepping stone towards the other person. I don't know. I don't know. And that would make a little more sense, especially with the atmosphere and just what I'm kind of feeling in listening to this one. Let me see if there's any other information about this particular track. Let's see. It says, like several other songs on Rio, the Chauffeur contains sound samples thanks to Nick's Fairlight. Let's see. According to a question from Ask Katie, the sample was taken from a nature record of insect noises that the band found in a library. The man is talking about crickets in the trees. No track or album under this name has yet been discovered. I love the art of sampling and taking samples from so many different places. I really love and it really is an art form, the art of doing that and transforming it into something unique. But otherwise, I'm not seeing a ton about this particular track. But regardless, I really like the atmosphere that it has. And I guess even that sample, which I'll have to listen back to this song again to see if I can really pick that out. I guess that also kind of lends itself to a little bit of a landscape, scenic, once again, kind of idea, which kind of works with this idea of this chauffeur traveling, taking this person to someone else, dropping them off to someone else to another relationship, in a sense. So there's also a sense of emptiness, a sense of losing something and someone important to you. Anyways, this has been a really fun album to listen to. I hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to it alongside me. Please feel free to like the video. You can subscribe, of course. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel on Patreon. I hope that you enjoyed your time here. Thank you for being here, and I will see you all later. Bye.